Welcome back to Rooted Bliss Podcast. I'm your host, Moses Nehemiah, and I just got back from New York City, y'all, on an impromptu trip that honestly, I didn't see coming. 1 minute, I'm at home. Next thing, I'm in the middle of Times Square. Bright lights, Broadway ticket in hand, watching Wicked on Broadway. And the whole time, I kept noticing a little voice in my head, a little sneaky part that was saying, yeah, but you're not there yet. Yeah, but you're not successful enough. Yeah, but you're not where you should be. Even while I was literally living in a gift, y'all, the old story was trying to play in the background. And that's when it hit me. Most of us aren't addicted to the grind. We're not addicted to money or even the chase. We're addicted to the story of I am not. You've heard it. We've all heard it. That voice inside that keeps whispering, I am not. I'm not enough. I'm not ready. I'm not where I should be. I'm not worthy of this. I'm not loved the way I want to be. I'm not capable. I'm not there yet. It shows up in the mirror when you see your body and immediately the thought that comes, I'm not fit enough. It shows up in your bank account. You look at the numbers and say, I'm not successful enough. It shows up in relationships. You compare yourself to others and think, I'm not lovable enough. And here's the tricky part. The not feels convincing because the mirror, the money, the people, they reflect it back like they're agreeing with you. The mirror shows lack. The bills show lack. The people in your life might even mirror it in how they treat you. But none of those things are the source. They're echoes. They're feedback loops. The body doesn't decide who you are. The money doesn't decide who you are. The relationships don't decide who you are. They're just echoes. The story you've been running in imagination. And if every story on repeat is I am not, then every corner of your reality bends to replay it. It's like having a playlist on shuffle, but every song is just a remix of the same hook. I am not, I am not, I am not. So if you keep listening, thinking, maybe next track will be different, but it never is. Until you, the DJ, changes the track. But here's the thing. The voice isn't some external truth. It's not source speaking. It's not reality speaking. It's habit. It's the old echo of conditioning, old comparisons, old standards that were never yours to begin with. But if you don't notice it, if you don't catch it, it becomes your identity. And when it becomes your identity, you live inside a cage made out of the word not. And in the cage, you didn't even realize you were holding shut with your own hands. Now, here's the real question. Why does the story of I am not feel so sticky? Why does it pull us back in even when we know better? Well, because I am not gives the mind a job. It hands the mind a puzzle, a project, a problem to solve. The mind thrives on problems. It doesn't care if it's actually real or not. It just wants something to chew on. So when you repeat, I am not enough, the mind says, perfect, let me fix that. When you say, I am not successful, the mind says, great, let me figure out a plan to get there. When you say, I am not loved, the mind says, okay, let's go hunt for validation. The story of lack gives the mind an endless to-do list. And if you keep handing it not, it will keep spinning forever. That's why it feels so addictive. Because the mind craves the chase more than the arrival. It's like a slot machine in Vegas. Every pull of the lever, you think, maybe this time I'll hit just enough. Maybe this time, the pull is where I'll finally get worthy. Maybe this time I'll feel like I belong. And sure, once in a while, you'll get a little dopamine hit, a little compliment, a paycheck, a new follower, and for a moment, it feels like you've won. But then the machine resets back to the same loop. I am not. And here's the kicker. The house always wins. Because the house is the illusion of lack. As long as you keep playing in that casino, you'll never actually leave with what you want. See, the story of not feeds itself. It feels safe because it's familiar. It feels real because the mirror keeps echoing it. And it feels endless because the mind doesn't know how to stop without problem to fix. But here's the truth most people will never hear. The story isn't you. It's not the source. It's not I am. It's just a program, a well-rehearsed loop, like muscle memory in imagination. And the more you rehearse I am not, the more the world obliges you by playing along. Here's the twist. Here's the reveal. Every single I am not you ever believed was camouflage. It was never the truth. It was never the source. It was never the I am. It was a costume, a disguise, a mask your mind learned to wear. And underneath every single version of it, the same thing was hiding in plain sight. I am. That's it. No extras, no qualifiers, no fine print, no waiting period. Just I am. Think about it. I am not enough. Take off the not, and what remains? I am. I am not loved. Strip the not, and what are you left with? I am. I am not successful. Underneath the disguise, it's I am again. The not is just spray paint on glass. It's cloud's reflection, but the reflection never changes. The not is the fog, but the mountain is still there. The not is graffiti scribbled across the billboard, but the message underneath is still untouched. And when you stop staring at the scribbles, you see what was always there. I am. This is why you don't have to fix yourself. You don't have to chase a new level. You don't have to prove anything. The story of not only pretends to be reality, but the moment you stop feeding it, you see through it. And when you see through it, the whole mirror changes. Not because you forced it, not because you hustled harder, but because you finally stop mistaking the camouflage for the truth. And the truth was never complicated. It was never far away. It was never missing. It was simply, I am. Here's where it gets real. It's one thing to hear me say, you're addicted to the story of I am not. But it's another thing entirely to start noticing it in your day-to-day life. So let me walk you through it. You wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and before you even take your first sip of water, the thought slips through and I'm not rested enough. I'm not looking good enough today. You open your phone, scroll through social media, see someone else posting their highlight reel, and this thought hits. I'm not doing enough. I'm not as far along as they are. You check your bank account. You look at the numbers, and it whispers again. I am not successful enough. I am not secure. You're at the gym, pushing through reps, and suddenly, I am not strong enough. I am not consistent enough. You're in a relationship, even with someone who loves you, and the mind still sneaks it in. I'm not lovable enough. I'm not appreciated the way I should be. It's everywhere. It hides in the smallest cracks. It hides in the language we use without thinking. It hides in the way we compare ourselves to people who aren't even in the same game as us. And the worst part? We think it's normal. We think it's just being realistic. We think it's humility. We think it's motivation. But reality? It's just the same drug. The same slot machine. The same loop of not. Here's the wake-up call. Once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Once you catch yourself saying, I am not, you've already exposed the trick. And in that moment, you have a choice. You keep feeding the story, or you can cut it off mid-sentence. And instead of letting the mind finish, I am not enough, you say right then and there, I am. Instead of letting the mirror dictate the story, you declare, I am. Instead of waiting for the bank account, the partner, the recognition, you stand now and say, I am. Because here's the key. The mirror never leads. The mirror only follows. What you rehearse in imagination, what you declare as your truth, is what the mirror is forced to echo. So if you want to change the echo, you don't start with the mirror. You start with the story. You drop the not, and you stand in the I am. And watch as the reflection bends to keep up. Okay, so now let's talk about dropping it cold turkey, y'all. Right here, right now. Because that's the only way the story of I am not really ends. Not with a slowed fade out, not with a 10-step plan, but with a decision in the now. I know because I lived it. For years, I carried the story of I'm not strong enough to quit drinking. I'm not disciplined enough to stop smoking. I'm not ready to live without these crutches. That was the loop. That was my addiction. Not just the substance, but the identity wrapped around them. I smoked a pack of Black and Milds every single day, y'all, or more. I drank a 6-pack every night, or more. And as much as I wanted out, the story of I am not kept me locked in. And then one day, I dropped it cold turkey overnight. No program, no easing in, no bargaining with myself. I stopped rehearsing the not. And in that instant, I saw the truth. I am had never been weak. I am had never been dependent. I am had never been broken. And in that moment, I stood in that truth. That reflection had no choice but to shift. The craving stopped echoing. The cycle broke because the cycle was never the source. It was only the echo of the story. And when that story ended, the addiction ended. Overnight. That's what dropping it cold turkey really means. Not just quitting a habit, but quitting the identity that says I am not. When you stop feeding into it, you realize you were never bound to begin with. And that's freedom. It's not something you earn. It's not something you work towards. It's who you already are. I am. So here's my invitation for you. Simple, direct, and real. Start listening for it. Start catching the I am not the second it shows up. Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. Because every time you hear yourself start to say, I am not, you have a choice. Do you let the sentence finish? Do you let the loop keep on playing? Or do you stop it mid-breath, strip away the knot, and stand? Stand in the I am. Say it out loud. Whisper it, shout it, write it down. Tattoo it in your imagination until it burns brighter than the lie. I am. That's it. That's the cure. That's the freedom. That's the end of the addiction. And when you live from there, the mirror has no choice but to bend. The money starts to flow. The body begins to shift. The relationship reflects the truth. Not because you hustled harder, but because the echo had to follow the song you were actually singing. So the question I'll leave you with is this. Are you still addicted to the story of I am not? Or are you ready to drop it cold turkey and live as the truth that's been here all along? I am. This has been the Rooted Bliss podcast. Own it, be it, and flow it, y'all. And if this message landed with you, if you are ready to stop living the story of I am not and stand in the truth of I am, then I invite you to go deeper with me. Check out my books, my courses, my school community, Rooted Reality, my holistic products, Solkara, and everything else I've created. It is rooted in the same truth. And it's all here to remind you of who you already are. You'll find it all linked in the show notes and in the description or at Linktree Moses Nehemiah. And until next time, as always, own it, be it, and flow it, y'all. That's how we live our life. Peace.